matters on which Australia places very high priority, and an embassy perspective, if you like. On behalf of the Australian Government, I'd like to congratulate all of you, organisers of and participants in this Integrity Summit, for your continued commitment to institutionalising good governance across a range of public and private sector areas in the Philippines. I'd also like to extend my congratulations to the Asia Foundation and the social weather stations for the launch of this year's 2012 Enterprise Survey on Corruption. Since 2000, the SWS has surveyed enterprises to promote transparency and accountability in government and the private sector to help build a culture of counter-corruption. And the Australian Government's very happy to have supported this year's survey, the 10th under the project and the first under the administration, I understand, of President Aquino. Countering corruption is a high priority for the Australian Government, and we're pleased to contribute to broader anti-corruption efforts in the Philippines. We recognise that surveys are a crucial tool for measuring public views on corruption and then communicating back to policymakers about how the public would like their government to be more accountable. The Australian Embassy here in Manila, through the Australian Trade Commission, Austrade, has been working closely with business through the Australian-New Zealand Chamber of Commerce to raise awareness of their obligations under Australian law, specifically anti-bribery legislation. And I'm very proud to acknowledge the presence here today of respected fellow Australians from the Australian and New Zealand Chamber, John Casey and Peter Wallace. We Australians believe strongly that governments that are open and accountable are able to deliver better services to their people. We advocate for social accountability and improving relationships between the state and society. Earlier this year, the governments of Australia and the Philippines jointly committed to working together on a new multi-year development cooperation program. And Australia and the Philippines agreed in this process to promote accountability, transparent and effective governance with the aim of ensuring that resources are effectively and efficiently used to deliver public goods. AusAid, the Australian Development Agency, the International Development Agency, has partnered with the Asia Foundation not only for the 2012 Enterprise Survey, but on many other initiatives that will facilitate partnerships between civil society organisations, the private sector and the government. Our three-year partnership with the Asia Foundation, which includes a Coalitions for Change program, means that we are working with stakeholders to advocate jointly for strengthening governance in the Philippines. Last year, AusAid also launched a new public financial management program. Through this program, we're assisting the Philippines government to be more accountable when it comes to public spending. We are also supporting the government to improve processes for budgeting and public spending, including on reporting back to the public quickly and accurately. In partnership with the Affiliated Network of Social Accountability, ANSA, AusAid is supporting some civil society organisations to observe public procurement processes and conducting also independent local monitoring activities of government projects. We're very encouraged by the results of these activities, by the presence of community volunteers in critical phases of the procurement and contract implementation, which serve as pressure points that oblige suppliers to quickly rectify deficiencies against technical specifications. Through another AusAid initiative, the Provincial Roads Management Facility, PRMF, we work with 10 provincial governments to ensure transparency, participative and accountable competitive bidding. As part of strengthening government procurement systems, the Provincial Roads Management Facility has supported the provinces, those 10 provinces, in the strengthening of records management and complaints handling systems, cost databases and electronic procurement systems. The project has also encouraged transparency through improved participation in local civil society organisation in the bids and awareness committee processes. Another agency of my embassy, the Australian Federal Police, is also cooperating very closely with local law enforcement authorities in the Philippines, particularly the Philippines National Police and the AFP has been here in the Philippines for the last 28 years. These are but some of the ways that Australia seeks to support the Philippines' own efforts to reduce corruption. It engages, as I say, several of the 8 agencies that we have present in the Australian Embassy in Manila, which is Australia's 8th largest embassy anywhere in the world. Our whole-of-government approach to anti-corruption is underpinned by our recognition that overcoming the challenges of corruption is a complex and difficult enterprise. It requires commitment across multiple sectors from a range of groups and individuals. We commend the Aquino administration's commitment to rebuilding a relationship of trust between the Philippines people and their government. We are optimistic that the recent reforms we have witnessed, such as those in the judiciary and the Ombudsman Office, improvements in revenue and customs collections and in tax administration, and more open processes in budgeting, will deliver positive, long-standing results. I'd also like to highlight the equally noteworthy efforts outside government, those initiatives in business and by private and civil society groups, such as groups present and well represented here today, that significantly contribute to building integrity when it comes to doing business in the Philippines. We hope that your successes will encourage more stakeholders, especially in the private sector, to take action to reduce corruption in their sectors. In closing, let me reiterate my appreciation as Ambassador of your work to address corruption and improve governance in the Philippines. Australia is very pleased to play its own small part in this important endeavour. Thank you very much.
Steve Rood takes the mic.
I think I will recognize everybody here merely by saying, fellow stakeholders in the anti-corruption, magandang umaga sa ating lahat. As mentioned by Bill, the Asia Foundation has been involved in this process for quite some time. In the middle